This week on the show. You're also, like you mentioned, a producer, a director, a screenwriter. You got your own production company. You do TikToks. And did I see you paint last night? Do you ever sleep?
I love sleep so much. I sleep.
Do you? Trish Rainone.
I went to a dance and this guy just tried to kiss me out of nowhere and I didn't see it coming. I never kissed a guy or a girl. I've never kissed anyone. And I was shocked. So I didn't kiss him back. I didn't know how to kiss. I didn't want to kiss him. And then him and his friends walked by me in the hallway afterwards and they said, she's hot, but she's so weird.
Oh boy.
And that scarred me for like all of high school. I was like, I can't just be me because I am weird.
Actor, writer, director, producer.
You know, maybe it is really, I don't know. From my perspective, it hasn't been easy. Maybe for some people it is, but I think for most of us, it probably isn't. I think most people are probably more in my boat where it's, you know, the industry has, you go through these waves where you feel like, wow, I booked this thing. Even, you know, for me, V-Wars was a big booking. I thought, wow, I booked a principal role in a Netflix original. And I thought my scenes went very well. I had, I think, 5 or 6 scenes. When it comes down to the final edit, you're in one quick scene.
Soon on the show, Pink is In, starting January 11th on Bell 5 TV 1.
Pink is In. I'm an actor on that. I play top dog in the prison. Her name's Nikki, but everyone in the prison knows her as top dog. So she uses intimidation, confidence, and bratty tactics to get her way within the prison. You know, it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's either be the tough girl or get picked on.
Let's talk to Trish Rainone on the Very Creative Podcast. Trish Rainone, how's it going?
Going great. How are you doing?
Good. I'm good. I like your background, the shirt. That's great.
Yep. Pink is In. The poster is the background right now. And I have Pink is In on my hoodie because this comedy comes out Monday. So I'm doing some subtle, low-key advertising.
Yeah, that's awesome. So introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay. I'm Trish Rainone or Trisha Rainone. I'm a writer, a podcaster myself. I like comedy. I'm definitely, you know, comedy is my jam. That's where I like to be. I produce various things in pre-production for a feature film. And what else? I do some virtual stand-up comedy now that we're in lockdown. all sorts of things. Sometimes I clean the house. Sometimes I make dinner. You know, I'm a person doing things.
Yeah, I kept looking at your IMDb and looking you up this morning, and just the number of stuff you did. You, for those people who are listening, most well known, you've been part of Umbrella Academy a little bit.
Oh yes, just a tiny role in the. I appear in the first episode. Actually, that's where I met, just in the opening scene as a swimmer. But that's where I met Lisa Crawford of Pink is In, and we had a good chance to sit together on set and chat throughout the day. And then a few months later, or maybe it was actually probably like a year later, she messaged me and we had kept in touch, and she had been on my podcast and we stayed friends. And I had met her briefly before that. And then we stayed friends, and she messaged me and said, hey, I think we have a role for you on this new series we're pitching called Pink is In.
Great. So, we'll talk about that.
Because it led me to Lisa.
Yeah. So V-Wars also, The Void, Pink is In, as you mentioned, that is starting January 11th on Bell 5 TV. And you're also, like you mentioned, a producer, a director, a screenwriter. You got your own production company. You do TikToks. And did I see you paint last night? Do you ever sleep?
I love sleep so much. I sleep.
Do you?
I go to bed at midnight and wake up at, 8 o'clock in the morning, get the day going. Unless I'm working on set, then it's usually a very early day. We did a paint night at home, and I've got my boyfriend to come on TikTok with me. And since getting him to come on.
Right.
I was getting on a lucky day, like 300 views. I'm like, I don't understand this algorithm. And then trying to do all this, original comedy on TikTok.
Right.
I'd end up not getting views. Then I get him on there with me and we do couples humor. And just one of the videos we just posted last week has like 100,000 views. And every day I check and I keep getting likes and comments on it.
Yeah.
So I have to face the facts that maybe we're funnier together and I have to just post the couple humor.
Yeah. So just to be sure, you sleep, right?
I definitely sleep. I
Okay. How many podcasts do you have? 2?
Well, it's hard to say. Like some of them I'm not really keeping up with. So I regularly record drunk read-throughs with my producing partner from One Sisterhood, Rebecca Heron. We love that one. People send in their short scripts or sketches and we read them and drink beer, or even sometimes I just drink tea or coffee right now because it's dry January, but mostly we drink alcoholic beverages and read their scripts. It's a chance to bring some life to old scripts that didn't make it into production that writers might have sitting on a hard drive or on their computer. So just to celebrate their work. So we do that. We're just heading into season 2 very, very shortly. And then I did record doing all these virtual shows of comedy over the last year online. I've recorded the episode or my sets. And then I put those up onto a podcast. I don't really promote that podcast, but it's nice to have those as kind of a keepsake. So if someone wants to hire me for comedy and they say, do you have an example of your work? I can just send them the podcast. And then I was doing a Kick Butt Ladies podcast. That's the one I had Lisa Crawford on of Pink Sin, and a whole bunch of other great ladies. But I'm not keeping up with that one anymore. It's kind of morphing and it's going to become the Kick Butt Talent podcast. And we're going to relaunch it. Rebecca will be my co-host on that, or will be co-hosts. I'll be her co-host, vice versa on that. So that's going to be coming up soon. We have 5 episodes recorded, but we haven't published it. One called Your Dating Stories that I did in March when I was really bored at home. And I knew I wanted to come up with a podcast I could do alone because I wasn't versed in Zoom yet. Right. So I had people write in their dating stories and then I just narrated them. That one surprisingly gets a lot of listens and I don't promote it at all. But once in a while I check the analytics and it's still getting a lot of listens. I guess people like field dating stories because it's something we can all
relate to. Yeah. Wow. And you really, again, you do a lot of stuff. I don't know how you keep it all in your head, but you stay healthy through that, but that's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
I also saw you did a video of The Bachelor at some point. I'm a big fan of The Bachelor.
I think you did see that on my Instagram.
Yeah.
We talked about that on DM.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did.
Did you watch The Bachelor?
I've watched it here and there because my mom watches it. Yeah. So I've never really devoted myself to a season. I've watched it with her here and there. And it seems like every episode is kind of the same thing. There's someone being like, I've met the love of my life. He is amazing. I don't see how anything could spoil this. And then it just gets to them being sent home and bawling in a car, being like, he's going to regret this.
Yep. That's the show. Yeah.
It's kind of entertaining. And I heard on the last episode or on the, most recent season, The Bachelorette actually found love halfway through and left.
Yeah, it was, she found it. She found him in the first episode. And then she was like, because he came out of the limo and she was like, I just met my husband. And then she didn't pay attention to any of the guys for like three episodes. Wow. And then at the fourth, she decided to get engaged with him. And then they had to switch up the Bachelorette. And there's a new Bachelorette that came in.
That's epic. I would watch that.
Yeah, that was a little brand new and original, which, so it added to the show a little spice.
Yeah.
Before we dive into Pink is In and your latest projects, talk about a bit about growing up. And did you always have that creative thing going on with you?
I guess so. I did always like when things were hands-on or had some sort of artistic ability attached to them in school. Yeah. I'm not those people who I feel like I dragged myself through high school and university, and then college I found to be, because I also did a college degree after university, or a college diploma after university, but I found college to be much more my style of learning, right, because it was a lot more creative. We had a lot of team assignments that involved some creativity, some presenting, and a lot of visuals and making presentations. And I found it was just more hands-on. And we did placements, whereas I felt university and high school, I'm not one to just sit and listen to someone lecture and leave feeling like I've learned. I need some hands-on, some sort of, singing or drawing or performing attached to it for things to stick, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And my school was very, we had teachers in elementary school who taught us through a lot of song. We did a lot of plays. So I feel like I was definitely thriving more in elementary school than in high school, because that was kind of taken away. So I think I am more of a creative type. Yeah.
So did you start professionally young, or
no? I was very shy. Yeah. I was very shy, except I did do some episodes of a show that came to town. It aired on YTV. It was called Hands Up, Hands On.
Okay.
It was a craft show, and I went along with a friend to audition because she said it would be fun. And I had fun because they just asked us for the audition to sing and dance and play games. I think we played Duck, Duck, Goose and things like that. I wish my auditions included that now, and maybe I wouldn't bomb some of them like I do. Yeah. So I ended up on this TV show doing arts and crafts, but I was really shy and I barely talked on it. I think I just said a couple of lines while we were making the crafts with the hosts. But I remember being pretty shy, but enjoying it at the same time.
Yeah.
And then I always signed up for lip syncs. We had a lot of lip sync contests in the city for some reason. I danced. I was a competitive dancer. So we did a lot of song and dance, and I enjoyed that. But as soon as it came time to speak or actually sing the song, that's when I got really nervous. So I didn't do a lot of theater growing up. I've done it since in Toronto, but as a child, no, I was pretty timid when it came to speaking in front of others.
Yeah. So do you feel still that so you said you were shy. So did it slowly give you confidence and slowly?
Yeah.
Because it did for me.
You know what? I have to give some props to improv coaches, because when I moved to Toronto 8 years ago, or in high school when I took drama class and we did improv, I really feel like that's when I came out of my shell.
Right.
And anytime I'm doing improv classes, I feel like when you leave the class, you carry this confidence with you that you don't necessarily have if you're not always flexing that muscle or, working on that muscle. So I do think that improv classes are pretty much the only reason why I ever became comfortable with speaking in front of people or going to auditions.
Right.
So yeah, the more you work at it, the more comfortable you become.
Yeah, that's what it did for me. I was pretty shy in high school and even before then. And as soon as I did theater, I was like, oh, this is me. This is really what I like doing. And it gave me finally I was having fun, it was something I knew. As a child, I would always go into disguise, and I loved Halloween. Halloween was every day for me. When I got to school and everybody was like, oh, you're weird, I was like, I lost my confidence. And then I started doing theater, and I was like, oh, I'm having fun again. That's
Yeah,
when,
they're embracing the weird in theater. It's
yeah,
so sad that in elementary school, I find, or grade school, people talk you out of being unique,
yeah,
and that makes you so awesome. And that's when you feel, I remember in grade 9, I went to a dance and this guy just tried to kiss me out of nowhere and I didn't see it coming. I never kissed a guy or a girl. I've never kissed anyone. And I was shocked. So I didn't kiss him back. I didn't know how to kiss. I didn't want to kiss him. And then him and his friends walked by me in the hallway afterwards and they said, she's hot, but she's so weird.
Oh boy.
And that scarred me for like all of high school. I was like, I can't just be me because I am weird and I'm quirky. Right. And if people see that, they're going to think I'm a loser. So I walked around like very kind of trying to fit in, my, nose turned up a little bit, trying to look confident so other people wouldn't think I was weird and make fun of me. So I really didn't let my true colors shine. I wish I could go back and do high school now. I think in the final year, I think I became more confident, was weird. And then people gave me the nickname Skippy. And I was a bit with my quirky self, but that was definitely after doing like grade 11 drama and, making a fool of myself in front of people and then realizing that it was fun to do that on stage and that it was a safe space and we were allowed to be weird. And we were encouraged to embrace our weird. So yeah, I think theater is a really great outlet for teens because it can be really tough and people can be very mean and try to talk you out of being who you are.
Right. Well, it's great that you mentioned if I was going back to high school now, because I always think about that with my brain. And right now, like, how would I react to bullying? How would I I don't know. I would be so strong now that I feel, it's so weird to think about that. How do you feel about that?
I would definitely stand up to the people who did useless bullying or said ridiculous things that weren't true. I feel like I would stand up to them and talk to them about it and just address the matter and be like, that's not the case. I don't know why you guys are saying that. And also I would just enjoy learning because now I listen to podcasts, I read, I do these. There's so many things that I feel like I missed out on because I wasn't listening in high school.
Right.
I would love to go back now and actually learn. And at the time, I just wrote poetry in history class and didn't want to pay attention to history. But now I'm looking those things up on podcasts or in books. So it would be nice to go back in time, potentially.
You also think
the whole butterfly effect, and we would really screw things up. So
you also think when you're in high school that that's all there is, you don't know anything about the world. Or if you go into the world and have relationships and blah, 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 it's that's your world. And
you're at your parents, you're under their, leadership. So it's not like, say now, if something was making me uncomfortable, I would change that situation in my life and I would leave. Whereas in high school, you're kind of stuck there because unless your parents want to move or unless you actually want to take that plunge and move to a new school and start over and make new friends, so it's it's a tough time, but also it can be fun. I guess some parts of it were fun, but I much prefer being an adult.
Yeah. So were you born in a small town? Is Sault Ste. Marie? I don't know about it. Is it a small town? Because I'm from Montreal. I don't know anything about it.
Montreal's beautiful.
Yeah.
Sault Ste. Marie is a very small city with a very small town vibe. Yeah. Everyone knows everyone. It's in its own bubble. It actually has about 75,000 people, but it's very small. There's two malls, one main mall that people tend to go to. So you see all of the same people all the time. And everyone wants to know how they know you. So as soon as you meet someone, they say, who's your dad? Oh, yeah, I know your dad. I know your mom. I know this person. So everyone wants to know what their connection is to you. So it's very much, there's a very small town vibe to it.
So when did you move to Toronto?
I moved to Toronto 8 years ago.
Okay.
to pursue filmmaking and acting.
Yeah.
And then there were so many great opportunities up in Northern Ontario. So I ended up opening a production company here in Sault Ste. Marie, where I am now, about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Following shooting we shot season 2 of My Roommate's an Escort up in my hometown in Sault Ste. Marie. And we had gained some funding and that sort of thing. So there's some really great funding available in Northern Ontario. There's great talent. They filmed Letterkenny just 3 hours from here in Sudbury. So a lot of the actors here have been on that show, or they've been on Carter or Cardinal. Those also shoot up here, up in Northern Ontario, and many feature films shoot here. So there are some really great acting schools in Sudbury. And yeah, I just find there's so much to offer up in Sault Ste. Marie. There's a lot of great nature and scenery, and the local businesses get really on board with shooting. So it's easier to find locations here. People are very supportive of it. So I have been filming things up in Sault Ste. Marie for the past, for the past couple of years, I've been filming a lot more of my projects up here.
Yeah. I feel like that was really important for you. From what I've seen you in interviews and everything, it's something. You were in Toronto for filmmaking and everything, and it seems like you wanted to go back to your origins in your hometown and give people opportunity back there.
Yeah, it's really great because there are so many people here who want to learn and want to grow and want to stay here.
Right.
If the opportunities are available. So my producing partner, Rebecca Heron, and I started the Sioux Film Festival. So that's been a really great thing, I think, for the local filmmakers. We celebrate Northern Ontario films exclusively. And I just feel like there's so much talent here. So if the work is available, people will stay here. There's a Sioux College. There's a college with a really great film program, and a lot of really talented students come out of that. So I just want to foster that talent and keep filming up here and show people that, they don't necessarily have to be in Toronto full time or Los Angeles full time or Vancouver full time or Montreal. They can also stay up here and do some training up here and work up here. So we're really trying to provide a lot of jobs up here. We just wrapped on a commercial that came up from Toronto. We were doing some location managing. We found the locations and some of the people to be in the commercial, and we've done a music video up here. We do some podcasting. Wow. It's been a different year with of course, COVID.
It's been a different year for everyone.
Yeah, so we're trying to do, until we do this feature we're in pre-production on right now, which should be shooting this spring. We're trying to do small shoots when we can, when we're not on lockdown. We were in a green zone, so for a while we weren't on any sort of lockdown. So that was a great chance to get some shorts and music videos and that sort of thing filmed.
Yeah, you're lucky to have green zones. Here we don't have green zones.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is red or orange.
People came from the orange zones, I think they're called. And they came up for Christmas and went to parties. So now we are no longer in a green zone, and there are cases on the rise every day. Thank you for coming to Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah. Now we have a curfew that we have to be home at 8 p.m. So.
Oh, right. Because you're in Montreal right now.
Yeah. Quebec is a whole
that's coming for
wild.
Us.
Yeah.
What if you want to go for a walk around the block? But it's 8:01 p.m.
You can't.
Wow. Oh, man, what a world.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
I often dream about life in 2019. We had no idea.
No, we had no idea.
We had no idea how lucky we were to see friends in person.
Yeah.
That everyone not everyone was in good health, but we certainly, it's really sad to think about the frontline workers and how life has just changed for them.
Right.
I read I think it was in Toronto Life, they had a doctor's journal.
Right.
Starting in March, he journaled and he shared it in this article. And it's just incredibly scary and sad for the frontline workers, for the families of people being affected by it. And well, I guess everyone's being affected by it.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this post on Instagram, but there was this one girl that's my age, like 24, and she just like her face looks so red, and she's like, I've been at it since March, and it's just crazy. And like, I've the post was, I'm used now to doing body bags and just putting people in them with my eyes closed. And yeah, and then
and that's the sort of thing I think people need to hear and share that information, because there are so many people who selfishly are going to parties and they think, I'm just one person, I'm not going to spread this. And it's, it's one thing if it spreads when people are being safe. It's another thing if it's spreading because people are partying, taking unnecessary vacations, and just not wanting to wear the masks and, follow the guidelines.
Yeah, people. I shared that story on my Instagram, and then this one girl replied to me. She's like, people, even if you share that, people won't believe it. Like, my sister comes home every night looking like this every night, and people still don't believe it. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is really a real thing.
Yeah, a lot of people believe it's a hoax. And you realize that when you sign in on the internet and they're like, it's a hoax, this and that. And how could something be a hoax when we know these frontline workers who are, breaking their backs for everyone, and are so stressed and are so scared going to work every day and taking all these protocols and precautions, and, they already have a stressful job and now they're living this. And then people are going online saying it's a hoax.
Crazy.
We definitely live in crazy times. My goodness.
Yeah.
The internet is a very scary place.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, so on a better note, you're a little like me, that you create your own work. And I really, really respect that, because it's hard. It's really hard to make it in this industry. If you're not in LA, it's even harder, it's, and how did that come about, to you creating your own work and starting that and going on that path?
I also saw that speaking of you creating, that you're a novelist, which is incredible.
Thank you.
That's a huge feat.
Yeah.
To finish a novel.
Yeah. I was tired of people saying no to my writing, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. And
that's amazing. And you've gotten some really great reviews.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
I would like to read it.
Yeah.
Nothing stays buried forever, especially not the past.
Yesterday is Not Yet Gone, a mystery novel by Gabriel Veiga, host of the Very Creative Podcast. Available now, paperback and digital. GabrielVeiga.com. Buy it now.
I feel like you kind of have to create your own material unless you are someone who just, I was at this acting coach's place, and I was in the kind of lounge area, and there was another actress who came in. This was a few years ago, and I had done season 1 of My Roommate's an Escort, but I was still an ACTRA apprentice, because to become a full union member, you need 3 credits. So I had gained 2 credits at that point, and then wasn't getting the 3rd one, and just wasn't getting the auditions I wanted or the opportunities. And then Katie Ullman and I created this comedy series, My Roommate's an Escort. So we shot that under ACTRA as well, but I still didn't get my 3rd credit. So I had done work, but I was in the lounge area with this girl, and she goes, like, who is still an apprentice? Like, is anyone an ACTRA apprentice? And I was sitting there thinking, I am. And that doesn't mean I'm a loser the way you're making me feel right now, bully. But she's this actress who's been in a ton of shows. She's very gorgeous. And maybe for some people, they just come out of the gate booking a big show. Then they're on some, big agency's roster and they just book right away. Great.
Yeah. She doesn't sound happy though.
Yeah.
That's all great, but no happiness that I feel.
Yeah, it was a very mean girl moment. I felt very much like she probably wasn't trying to attack me. Maybe she didn't realize I was still an apprentice, which, hey, how can you ever, like in any business, you have apprentices, and that's a big deal to even become an apprentice. It's like, how many things you had to accomplish to get to that place? That's a big celebration to book an actor job when you're non-union. And then to book two, and for her to insult that, I just kind of thought, maybe it is really, I don't know. From my perspective, it hasn't been easy. Maybe for some people it is, but I think for most of us, it probably isn't. I think most people are probably more in my boat where it's, the industry has, you go through these waves where you feel like, wow, I booked this thing. Even, for me, V-Wars was a big booking. I thought, wow, I booked a principal role in a Netflix original. And I thought my scenes went very well. I had, I think, 5 or 6 scenes. When it comes down to the final edit, you're in one quick scene.
Yeah.
And
was it in the first episode?
Yeah, the first episode. One of the editors even wrote to me, or no, it was the creator of the books, the writer of the books, the novelist. Yeah. And he said when they were watching the footage that he loved my scenes and he complimented them. So it doesn't matter if your scenes are good. What matters is the story. So at the end of the day, a director has all this footage and they have to cut it into a cohesive story. So a lot of things that get shot don't end up in the final cut of things. And it's hard on an actor because you can't help but take certain things personally. Like you feel like, oh man, did I fail? I thought this was going to be a big thing for me. And those scenes were, and those scenes aren't in there. Like, ooh, now it's back to the drawing board. Now I have to book something else and try to get myself out there. So it can really be a hard struggle. One thing I did learn from creating my own material, I directed the first short film I directed called Milk. It's now on Amazon Prime in the US or UK or Vimeo.
I've seen it. It's great.
Oh, thanks. And what I've learned from that is the film was much longer, but for timing, when I went to edit it with the editor, I watched it and it was just so obvious to me. No, this needs to be cut. Forget this scene. Forget about this. Let's actually move this one from the end over here and let's move this one here. Let's keep it short and cohesive and just kind of tell a little snippet of a story because it's a short. Boom. And then I thought to myself, I just cut my own scenes. If it was a different show or movie and I wasn't the director and it got cut, as an actor, I'd be like, oh, I must have screwed up. But I knew that the acting was great on both Bobby and my part. That's not what the issue was. The issue was that it didn't need to be there.
Right.
To move the story forward.
Yeah.
So I think I've learned a lot from creating my own materials, just about the business in general, just about how things work. You learn a lot about just about the business. And if I wasn't a writer, producer, creator, I wouldn't be in as many as I'm in. So I think it's just, it's very fulfilling to produce something. It has its challenges, but it is very fulfilling at the end of the day. And if you're someone who isn't necessarily getting a lot of acting roles, it's a great way to work in this industry and understand this industry. And, if you just enjoy filmmaking, why not create your own?
Yeah. I think your experience with V-Wars and other projects, I think that's right. When you start creating your things, you understand why that is, because the story is more important than you. And sometimes that's really sad because you want to be in that show, but it's weird.
It's not about you. It's
not about you.
Story. And I think that's what we all have to learn. We all need that lesson.
But that's also why we need to create our own content.
Yes. And we also need to do things for the joy of it and love of it, and not go to that place where you think, oh, this might be a game changer for me, because it's never going to be easy.
No.
And I think even if something is a game changer, it's not going to be a game changer forever. There are actors who work on the biggest series that we watch as a main character, and they still have that fear as soon as the show gets canceled or wraps up its final season. They still have that fear of, I might never work again. And I think that doesn't go away as an actor or anyone who goes from contract to contract as a freelancer in any business. So I think it's kind of part of, I think getting used to that feeling of I might never work again is a good thing to get used to, because it will never go away. And I think it just kind of, if you can get comfortable with that feeling and sitting in that place, then you can use it as fuel to keep going, to work harder, to sometimes reinvent yourself, to try a different angle, to maybe try a new platform or a new type of creative outlet, like start doing a podcast. Or I think it's just great to always feel like, okay, there's some uncertainty here, but that's out of my control. That's just part of this industry. And every single person in this industry, even if they look successful on Instagram, is feeling what I'm feeling, and they're all going through the same thing. And let's just become comfortable with that and use it as fuel to keep creating.
That's probably why the girl was mean to you, because she was scared and still didn't know how to control it.
That's probably what it was. She was, everyone's a little bit fragile and a little bit afraid.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So briefly, let's talk a little bit about you creating My Roommate's Escort. I've watched the episodes on YouTube, and amazing. Like right away, the first episode, like it's just like I want to binge this now. It's great. It catches you. So how you said you had advice to create a show like this. So can you give us a little bit of people who want to create their own stuff like this?
Well, I met Katie Ullman at a mutual friend's birthday party right before we created this series together. And we just kind of got talking about, some dating stories. We talked about, being in Toronto and having roommates and dating, and just shared stories and shared the frustrations of being actors and not necessarily being given the opportunities, that we wanted at the time. And we just really hit it off. We went to a cafe a couple days later and just started writing and coming up with this world. We wanted to come up with a dynamic between two females and have the females be the leads in the story. And that really meant a lot to us, because it was it was hard back then. I remember auditioning for, the waitress or the one-line role. And I really wanted to do comedy, and I really wanted to show people, it really meant a lot to both of us to have females in leading roles. And it was definitely, oh my gosh, we learned so much doing it. And
what did you learn about the filmmaking process and everything?
When you start creating, you learn as you go, and then you just, it's so much work getting anything made. Now I'm realizing how long it takes. Now I apply for grants, and you get so many no's, and then you get one yes, but then with that one yes, then there's a whole new, I'm now getting this feature film going with Rebecca that we're producing with some co-producers, and there's just so many things to learn and to crack away at. And I don't think I realized years ago when I was acting and not doing any of the writing or producing, just how much goes on behind the scenes to make something happen. So I feel really appreciative of that now. And just even when I get an audition, I look at the other day I was doing a Zoom callback. So it was the second audition. So the director was there and the producer. And I was just thinking, wow, you guys you're making this movie. You got it greenlit, you got the funding, you've done all the rewrites. I know what they've gone through. So I think it's just such a celebration when any story actually becomes a thing, because I know the hard work and all of the different paths that they had to take to make that come together behind the scenes, and how many people had to say yes and how many no's they got, and then how they had to come up with a new plan and rework it and say, okay, we'll go this route then with it. So I definitely appreciate other writers and creators, and I'm in awe of them, and novelists for sure, because I've started so many novels and haven't finished them. It's my goal.
But well, it's a nice goal to have. But I think that's that's why I wrote a novel, because I was I studied film at university for 2 years, and then I switched to English. But I always wanted to be a director and screenwriter, and still want to be that. But making a film, like, that's why I asked the question, because I've attempted and I've failed in so many ways to do that, because you have to make something very short, and because otherwise it's a lot of money, it's a lot of people that you have to hire. So I've learned from my mistakes, but I understand your pain, and I understand how it works. It's also very fulfilling. But yeah, that's why I decided to write a novel right now, because I'm like, I just want to make my thing and just get it released. And it's just writing, I don't need anybody to help me with that, so.
Even to have that discipline, though, to sit down. And when I say I've started somebody and finished them, I meant not like I'm not reading people's full novels. It's when it comes to writing, I've sat down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I get it.
So much discipline. And I think that's what it all comes down to for any outlet that you're doing, and to make anything happen. You have to get up every day and decide to keep working on it, because it's not going to happen to you. It's not going to happen for you. It's going to happen when you persistently and consistently do the work. And some days it's really hard, and some days everything's against you. And then to get up the next day and still maybe take a break, because maybe that's what you need for your mental health, and then to get back to it and keep going back to it. And that's why I think it's pretty spectacular to make anything, because you've sat down and you've really committed, even if so many things were stacked against you. So I have big appreciation for, or like the creators of Pink is In. I'm so impressed by them. They came to me and said, hey, we think we have this role for you. We're going to shoot a teaser trailer. Would you be down? I'm like, and then they sent the scripts. I'm like, oh, of course, this is hilarious. And then we shot the teaser trailer. And then within a year, they had been picked up, and we shot the first season, and now it's releasing. And this all happened within just over a year's time. And I'm just in awe of them. I'm like,
how did you make that?
Yeah, that's amazing. It's, it's, things take so much time and commitment. And they're a pretty special team. And I don't know what I forget what the question was, but all I can keep stressing is.
No, I was just saying I feel your pain about the filmmaking process and how long it takes.
Small. That was really good advice, to start small, because I think it can be really overwhelming with anything you do.
Yeah. It looks good on the page, but then if you start trying to shoot it and hiring people, they will tell you. This will take a lot of resources.
Yes, and a feature is very tough. So if you did want to start creating, definitely start small. Write a short film, write something that's even just a couple of minutes, like a micro short, and then ask people for, maybe ask your good friends who have skills to help out. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. If it's something that's only going to take up, a day or two of someone's time, they might be willing, if they're your friend, to help you out to get your career rolling a little bit, and to get get your feet wet. So it's good to start small.
Yeah. But like the whole point of creating your stuff is also, you don't have to wait for people's approval at all.
That's so true. Just start writing and start one day at a time.
Because you'll get so many no's.
Oh yeah. When somebody says no, I'm just going to take off my boots.
Yeah, no problem.
If somebody says no, that's an opportunity to go and find someone who's going to say yes.
Yeah.
So people will
You're
say
saying yes to yourself, though.
yes. Say yes to yourself. That is the key.
Yeah. It's no, it takes a long time. It took a long time for me to I don't need anybody's approval. I'm gonna do my own stuff and just make my things. And if somebody wants to knock at the door and say yes, I'll be more than welcome. But I'm not gonna wait for that, because I'm not creating if I do that.
Exactly. That's the perfect attitude to have.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just keep doing your thing. Other people will come to you eventually, and the right people will come to you. You just keep doing it and keep putting it out there and keep creating. Yeah.
So talk a bit about why comedy and as opposed to other things. Do you like making people laugh? Or you?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I feel like comedy just happens to be the thing that I feel comfortable doing, and that doesn't scare me and that I enjoy. When I do a dramatic audition, I feel this pressure, after I'm like, did I get there dramatically? Like, it said in the script they wanted me to cry, but I didn't shed tears. But then if it's a comedy, I'm like, oh yeah, I understand this. I get this. I feel like it's just a little bit more natural for me to understand, to get into comedy. I don't know. It just feels like where I like to be. I like laughter. I like sets are a stressful place sometimes. So I like when there's comedic content. It puts people, in a bit of a jollier mood. And I don't know. I've tried writing things too. And afterwards I go back and read them. And even if it's, something more dramatic, I read it and I'm like, oh, this is a comedy. So it's just, I don't know. It just feels like the place that feels the most safe or most fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
As a person and as an actor. If I watch, like, some days I'll get an audition for something that's very kind of just wholesome, girl next door best friend in a feature film.
Yeah.
That kind of like maybe like a bubblegummy rom-com. And I'll do the best friend role, but it's not necessarily comedy. Like it's got its cute moments, but it's not comedy. I feel like if I have a comedy audition that same day, when I have to go to send the self-tapes and I watch both, I buy my performances in the comedy much, or I just see more, like I come more to life. Right. So even watching back my own stuff, like I feel more comfortable doing the comedy. And then when I even watch the self-tapes before sending, I'll watch the comedy one and be like, oh yeah, that one's more for me. That doesn't seem like as, I don't know. It's just, it's not, I like it. I've acted in other things and I like it. It's just.
Is it easier for you to write comedy as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's so many weird situations that you see or that you hear about that are really kind of dark or just weird. And you have to wrap your head around it. Like someone will come to you and tell you a story and you're like, okay, that's really bizarre. That's a comedy. Can I write this? So I think there's just so many people are so weird and have so many dramas. And if you take that stuff and find the humor in it and start writing it, it's like there's just something so fun about taking either something weird that happened to you or something weird that you saw happen to someone you know and turning it into a comedy. It's so fulfilling because I feel like so much weirdness going on around us, and you could just recreate that situation as a drama, or you could be like, let's really like look at how awkward this is and make this like a really awkward comedic script or a sketch on TikTok or, there's just a short film or a micro short comedy. Right. There's like a lot of truth in comedy. And that's what I love. You're facing the truth. Yeah. Whereas sometimes in a drama, I feel like, which I like it all, but I feel like, say, if I'm writing a drama, the characters are trying to like mask what's really going on. There's a lot of subtext. In comedy, you just come out and say what's really going on.
Yeah.
You're not skirting around the issue. The issue is actually very highlighted. And it's making everyone act very chaotic. And
it's true.
Yeah. And I love physical humor. I love seeing people. One of my favorite things to see online is just people falling over, not getting hurt. I don't like blood and violence, but I love to see somebody just like standing in the snow and just like tipping over and falling. I love physical humor. Someone posted a video of toddlers falling in the snow the other day.
Right.
And they're not hurt. So it's funny because they're just still learning about their bodies and gravity and, you know, probably have many years to learn about that, because I feel like it took me till I was like 30 to feel comfortable in my own skin. But when you're like a toddler, you're still figuring out gravity. So throw a big snowsuit on and all of a sudden they're just like, some of them just like fall over. They just like tip. Pick them up, like they're these squishy little things. They just pick them up and the kid's fine. And the kid's just kind of like, what just happened? But there's something so funny about seeing people just fall over, or like adults falling. Just like, yeah.
You have a thing about falling.
I have a thing about falling and physical humor. I find it so funny.
Yeah. But these people are really hurting themselves.
As long as they're not really hurt. I don't like to see them get really hurt. That's gross. No broken bones, no getting hurt. We don't want to see that. But we do want to see your uncle falling off of his chair at the dinner table. That we like to see.
So you also have, you mentioned it before, your short film Milk.
Oh, yes.
Nothing stays buried forever, especially not the past.
Yesterday is Not Yet Gone, a mystery novel by Gabriel Veiga, host of the Very Creative Podcast. Available now, paperback and digital. GabrielVeiga.com. Buy it now.
I released Milk which I wrote and directed. I actually wrote it over text with a friend who passed away, very tragically, and very it was very.
Yeah, I saw that at the end.
That, and he was such a special person, like the most talented, sweetest, warmest, like literally lit up a room. Just such an incredible artist in person, so kind, so encouraging. And we were writing a feature together. And in the meantime, over text, we're like, hey, we should shoot something really short because a feature is going to take us forever to produce. And then I was like, oh, what if we do this little tragic love story? And we're like, yeah, and we'll play the roles and we'll do this. He's like, perfect. And then I thought, okay, we'll shoot it at my dad's condo. Just use the resources that we have. And then when I found out he passed away, was grieving for a few months and going through old texts and then finding more messages on email and then finding more messages on the Instagram inbox and just slowly unwrapping all these messages and replaying these messages and these meetings that we had over coffee and just kind of replaying it all in my head, trying to understand that he was no longer with us on earth. And then I messaged Bobby, who is the male actor in it and co-producer. And I said, oh man, I was supposed to we were going to make this short together. This makes me so sad. And he was like, why don't you just write the short and we'll just shoot it? He's like, go write it. So then I was like, yeah, I should write it. So I went and wrote it. And then we shot within maybe a month. We used resources we had, used my dad's condo because it has a really nice view. And I did not have a view like that at my place. Or would want anyone to see my bedroom. No, so we just kind of did it within our means. I didn't apply for any grants. I didn't want to sit around and wait just paid for it, shot it, had a lot of favors from people that worked on it, just coming out and lending their talents. And that was amazing, and shot it as an actor at co-op.
Right.
And got it out there. So it's, it's just kind of a story about, some people might be like, oh, I don't really get it or understand. Like some of the reviews, someone reviewed it, I think from England, and he was like, it's like good, but not amazing. Like, I don't understand why it's such a, like it's kind of mundane. It's kind of this, like, it's not bad, but it's not like, and the acting's good enough, and this and that is good enough, and this is good enough, but it's, like, I'm like, I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to show a situation between two people that have a complex relationship. She can't have a baby, and that's something that I've seen people close to me going through. Yeah. And I know how gut-wrenching that is for a couple. And they're kind of in this mundane everyday routine where they're not appreciating one another because they don't, we don't understand the fragility of life until we're faced with a tragic situation. And I think a lot of us just go through life in overdrive, in a busy city, just trying to get to work and stressing over work and this and that and arguing over these little things, but you don't really know how much time you have with somebody.
Yeah.
And that's not a reflection of my relationship with a friend. We had, we weren't a couple and we weren't arguing. That's not why I dedicated it to him, but I ended up dedicating it to him because he was the one who encouraged me. And he said, hey, you can direct. And he was producing all of these little short films, really great short films, with Blink Twice Films, his tribe of friends and filmmakers. And they were making these, I think, 1-minute films. And that's why they call them Blink Twice Films, I believe. Really great quality projects, amazing people, very creative. And he even said to me, hey, you could direct one of those. And I thought, I can't direct. I'm a writer, I'm an actor, but directing is so scary. And he was like, no, you can totally direct, Trish, and you will. And he was such a cheerleader. So I really, when he passed away, I was like, I am making this project and I'm making the short, and I'm going to prove that I don't have to be afraid of directing, that I can take the plunge and direct. And not put those limits on myself and say, I'm just a writer, I'm an actor, I'm not a director, because, it was just something that scared me that I secretly wanted to do for a long time. So I feel like he encouraged me in a way from the other side to do it. So that's why Milk means so much to me. And then it was picked up by Parallel Universe Pictures, owned by Heidi Tan and Rebecca Heron. And Rebecca is also my partner at 180 Sisterhood, and now it's on Amazon Prime US, UK, and on Vimeo. So it's been such a great journey, and it has a really beautiful song in it, and was edited and composed by Daryl Bennett, very talented guy. So yeah, I feel like that was very long-winded, and I'm definitely one of those people who's like, after it's hard to put out projects and then see them. I feel the need to be like, because of a bad review, or not a bad review, but a mediocre review. I'm like, I need to explain to everybody where I was coming from.
Well, speaking of that, I just want to say to the guy from England, first of all, you're wrong. It's very, very effective. And I love the film. I think it was beautifully shot. I like how your things are shot, and it was the writing was great, the acting was great, and I'll say fuck you to the guy from England, for you. Yeah.
So nice. It's hard not to listen to the outsiders and the things they say, and then you feel like you need to defend things or explain to people, especially with a short, because it's such a short snippet of a story. Yeah. I actually sat down and wrote it out as a series, kind of the different episodes and where something like that could go. And I wanted to work backwards and have that be the final episode of season 1. But I don't know, it's sitting somewhere on my computer. Who knows if I'll ever do anything with that. Sometimes you write things and you don't do anything with them.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to write and practice writing.
Yeah. It's always, I have so many things in my computer that I haven't used.
Oh, what you can do is send them to our podcast. Drunk Read Throughs is where we read people's scripts for that reason. So writers who have scripts that are, a short or a pilot or something that's just kind of sitting on your computer that you're not going to do anything with, and it has no life to it, and it's just sitting there. Life to it. We will read it while drinking on our podcast.
Oh, awesome. I'll think about it.
180sisterhood@gmail.com.
Oh, great.
We'd love to feature yours. And it can be any level. Rebecca read one that she wrote 10 years ago. I read one I wrote a few years ago, and it was just the first crappy draft, but it was about a pandemic. And so, we featured a couple of our own just to be like, hey,
yeah,
this is a safe space. We're also reading our own old things that aren't perfected, that are maybe the first draft. And now send us your stuff, and we want to celebrate yours. So we've gotten to read, we finished season 1, or we're just finishing it up, and we've gotten to read a lot of really, really great scripts, and they're sent in from all over the world. So it's been a really great joy celebrating those scripts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll think about it. Yeah.
We would love to read yours, or anyone listening, if you have scripts, send them in.
Repeat the email address real quick.
180sisterhood@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Like 180 sisterhood.
Great. So before we go to our game and end this, plug Pink is In and what it's about, and where can people check it out, and how did you enjoy the process of making that?
Pink is In. I'm an actor on that. I play top dog in the prison. Her name's Nikki, but everyone in the prison knows her as top dog. So she uses intimidation, confidence, and bratty tactics to get her way within the prison, because it's either, it's a dog eat dog world. It's either be the tough girl or get picked on. So, so that's where she's coming from. And it's a lot of fun. There are a lot of antics in the show. It's a hilarious comedy, written by Kim Lombard and created by Lisa Crawford and produced by Carolyn, Kim, and Lisa, and there's some other producers. Anyways, it's just a great team. And I can give more info on it or you could just go to the Pink is In Instagram and get to know all the creators and the cast. And it's a lot of fun. It's coming to Bell 5 on Monday. And there's a big season ahead, or another season ahead, and more seasons ahead after that. But we'll let you know if there's anywhere else to watch it after it comes out on Bell 5. There might be other options as well.
After January 11th. Perfect.
Yes, after January 11th.
Perfect. So you do, like I mentioned, that you're very busy and you're on a lot of projects. So doing a lot of projects, does that give you anxiety, and how do you deal with that?
Definitely. I feel like I definitely get anxiety about being busy. So you have to write to-do lists and take it one day at a time.
Yeah. Sleep helps too.
Yeah. Sleep helps. And have a routine and some sort of normalcy outside of this business if you can.
Yeah.
Have a life outside of it.
Yeah. It's kind of hard right now though. So what do you say to people that are at home and just are creative and just anxious?
I would say start looking at other means of expressing yourself creatively. Because, it's great to, I did a paint night last night. I think it's really great I'm not a painter, but just find ways to keep creative, because if you're the creative type, speaking from my perspective, which I think you're probably, if you're a creative type, are the same way, that it doesn't necessarily have to be one type of creativity that fulfills that. If you're a writer, maybe starting a podcast will give you that same sort of sense of creativity and accomplishment and connecting with others, or doing some painting, buy a journal and start journaling, or write some poems. And who cares if you've never been a poet, just start writing poems. And I think that you will feel fulfilled in some way, even though it's so tough and we're not out doing what we would normally be doing. Find ways to still stay creative at home.
Right.
Get outside for a walk if you can, get some fresh air, and take your vitamins, drink your water, eat your fruits and vegetables, eat healthy. It's so easy to go down that path of, I remember in March, buying a box of wine and being like, okay, if we're on lockdown, I'm just going to drink wine. And
it's so easy. Yeah.
Make you feel good. You need a balance. And, even if you're going to have the wine, just try to do everything in moderation, try to have some balance. Some days it's going to be hard and you're not going to want to move your body, get up and move, get up and dance. Just try to consume art and create art in any way you can. And hopefully that gives you some sense of, accomplishment in that creative way, because I know that we crave that. And this is our life. We need to be creative, or we feel like we're shriveling up and becoming a raisin. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good answer. Thank you for that. I was thinking, because you mentioned, create a podcast. That's exactly why I created this podcast, because I wanted first to talk to other creative people and to see it helps to talk to people that are like you and are going through the same things. And it really helps. And it keeps you, like, especially right now, it keeps you socializing and keeps you, and it's, that's really, a fun way to deal with it.
There's a sense of connecting after doing a Zoom call. It's amazing that I know sometimes people are, getting sick of all the calls and video meetings and this and that. But to connect with someone after this, I feel like I've just socialized, because I have. So it's the new socializing. And
exactly.
I think anytime I've done some sort of podcast or connecting with someone else on a Zoom call, just for fun, to socialize. I met some friends over Zoom the other night that I used to go out and drink with. So it was fun to just see them over Zoom. And even though it's not the same, it still gives you that sense of, okay, I connected with other people. I don't feel so sad.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It leads me to this game that I always do at the end of my podcast. I watch feel good stuff also to feel good when I have creative blocks and anxiety, and so I'm always looking for suggestions. So what's a feel good movie that you have? What's your feel good movie?
Elf at Christmas time and Home Alone at Christmas. Or anytime for Home Alone. I feel like that can be watched anytime. And it's another feel-good one. I feel like any comedies just always put me in a good mood and make me laugh. What other ones? Oh, or classic nostalgic things you watched as a kid, like E.T. There's something you liked as a kid, pull that out and give it a watch. Yeah,
nostalgia does a real good thing for you. I feel that way. Yeah. TV show. What's your feel good TV show?
Feel good TV show. Ooh. I really enjoyed, this is a new show. I love Drew Barrymore's energy. She has a show, so I've tuned into a talk show online. I also love humor, and I love quick things that you can watch just in spurts here and there. So I love the Baroness Von Sketch Show, because you can even tune in on Facebook or Instagram and just watch funny, quick clips of their show. And it's so relatable as a woman in this world. I find that show very relatable. So that's Baroness Von Sketch Show. Yeah. And what else? Oh, there's so many funny people on TikTok too that I just tune into. Like yesterday, there's this girl, Linda Dong, and she has this like fuck bitch family, it's called. It's like PHUCBICH, fuck bitch family.
Okay.
And she just like, she'll duet other people's TikToks and do commentary on it. And it's so funny. She didn't post for a day. And I was like, where's my friend Linda? Like, where is she? I need her comedy today. So sometimes just finding your favorite person on Instagram or TikTok and tuning into their comedy is good too.
Yeah. What about music? What's your feel-good song?
Feel-good songs. I have a playlist that has a bunch of songs from, from growing up. So there's a few Britney Spears songs or Spice Girls songs. A lot of country music is on it. Yeah. Justin Bieber. Let's talk about Justin Bieber. He suddenly became this, well, probably not suddenly, but I'm sure it took some work. He's become such a great person and his music is amazing. I love Justin Bieber. I am now a believer.
Yeah. Did you see the song with Shawn Mendes? I love it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
He's really put out some good stuff lately. Yeah. Anyone is one of his songs. Lonely, and the one with Shawn Mendes.
And Monster, yeah.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah.
Holy is also very good. So, yeah, Justin Bieber at the moment is putting me in a good mood. I never thought that would be something.
You never thought. Yeah. A lot of people say that right now. So plug the Pink is In again, and then we'll end this. So people can watch it on January 11th, right? And that's it.
Yes.
On TV.
So if you have Bell 5 TV, you can watch Pink is In on January 11th. I play Top Dog in the series, and it's a female comedy series, female prison comedy series, and it's created by a team of awesome, really cool creators, and so much fun. So I hope you'll tune in and keep following on social media, because there will be updates if there are other networks or ways to watch it in the near future. There will be updates coming likely. I'm sure the update will be coming soon on their social media. So follow at Pink is In.
I will be tuning in. Well, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. I really, really appreciate it. I was looking forward to talk to you because what you do is impressive, and I always respect people that create their own work and like just hustle, and that's great.
Well, likewise, and I'm really glad we got to connect, and now we're friends. So keep in touch.
Yeah. Well, Trish Rainone, thank you so much for coming on the Very Creative Podcast, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, talk to you soon, and thanks to everyone for listening.
You've been listening to the Very Creative Podcast with Gabriel Veiga. To find out more, go to gabrielveiga.com/podcast or find us on social media at The Very Creative Podcast. You can also watch the podcast on YouTube. Just search for The Very Creative Podcast and subscribe.